Welcome back to the Behind the Well Show. Roger Abel here with Elias Randel again. Eli, it's already time. Fidelity's 15th annual resolution studies. We did this last year. We'll do it again. Christmas is in like 7 days, right?
I don't know. What's today?
It's Monday. It's next Monday.
Okay. Yeah, 7 days.
Aren't you doing your little flippy calendar?
Nope.
What happened? Or don't you have a figurine or something you were telling me about your grandma started? And,
I don't do it. The kids do it.
well, aren't they doing it? And don't you?
Christmas is next week. That's what I know.
Don't you glance at it?
No.
You travel
It's
for
on the
Christmas?
wall.
Do you travel?
No, I'm not. No, we're not going anywhere. We'll be home.
Oh yeah, we talked about this last time.
Yeah, we'll be home. We're not going anywhere.
Present.
We're having some company. We'll go to I can't remember where are we going. One of my in-laws' house for
Nice.
Christmas. It'll be nice.
Are you gonna make a resolution next year?
Nope.
I made one. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, because they don't matter. Just because the year, resolutions, the year changes. Well, why would that? The year changes every year. That doesn't mean that all of a sudden now I have things to do.
But at least it like gets you on the right track to start the year, even though it might only last 9 days. It gets you on the right track, right mindset for next year.
I think I did resolutions once, and it was because you asked me to, because we were filming a podcast about resolutions, but it's not something I typically do.
Okay, do you set goals?
Yes, but the calendar doesn't impact. Like, okay, we go from December to January. I don't change my goals just because we went from March to April.
So are goals and resolutions different?
Dude, I don't know.
I feel like they're
A
similar.
resolution sounds like
a change. Because like I'm going to change
Yes.
this habit, where a goal's like I want to accomplish this, but realistically, they're probably the same thing. Like I want to use the Peloton, but nobody does.
the Peloton. Yeah, there you go. That's
Yeah.
a good resolution.
We-
Use your Peloton more.
My resolution's to sell the Peloton.
Yeah, and the other thing I think it's okay to get started, and yeah, it's a nice idea to get your year started correctly, but I don't understand why, okay, now it's January 1st, so now, I'm different now. Sorry, but my goals aren't changing because of the time of year.
Don't you get like more excited this time of year, or not? Like you get excited about a new
No.
year, you just start over fresh. You're like, nah, it's the same thing. All right, whatever.
But we're not starting anything over other
Yeah.
than the year.
Everybody starts over at 0 January 1st.
For what do you mean? Start at 0.
Everybody's income for the year is 0.
I was talking
Everybody's
to
returns for the year is 0. It
See,
all
I was
starts over. It's a fresh look.
I'm kind of a complainer anyway, but I was talking about this with someone the other day, how we're going to start talking about 2024. What about 2023? It's not even over yet. What about finishing the year? Everyone gets started talking, well, what are we going to do next year? What about finishing the year we're in?
You just you just coast into the end of 2023 and you come into 24 with a roar. That's the goal. So, all right. In the Fidelity's 15th annual resolution study, key findings. This isn't any different than any other year. Top 3 financial resolutions are save more money, pay down debt, spend less money. I mean, honestly, I look at that and that seems like a recipe for success. It's probably not a whole lot harder than that. We like to make
tricky?
it. Well, I mean, if you turn on financial news, financial media, even us sometimes, we make it more complicated than it really is. It comes down to pretty easy things to do to start to build your net worth. And I mean, that's what this show's about. So, I mean, everybody's resolutions probably save. My resolution is to save more money. I already saved a bunch, but I want to save more. I'd like to spend less. I looked at my QuickBooks, and there's some places that I'd like to spend less that I thought were frivolous.
You need resolutions.
Maybe we should call it awareness. What's your awareness for 2024? One of the things as I think about this, though, I think instead of people just saying, hey, I want to do this, they have to put some actionable steps in there. So saving more money is broad. What does that mean? What are you saving more money for?
That's a good question.
I mean, seriously, if someone says, well, I want to save more money, well, why? To have more? Okay, to have more to do what? It could be, hey, step one of my resolution is I want to save more money to get a super funded emergency account. Or I met with my financial advisor and I'm not on track for retirement, so now I need to save more money to be able to retire at 62 or whatever the goal is. Or I want to buy another residency or bigger house, so that's why I'm saving money. So I think when people do resolutions, they should be pretty detailed, because otherwise it's just broad and it's easy to say, well, why am I doing that? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think anytime you set out to do something, there should be an action item, and you should probably get started with the doing part. So if you want to save more money, just do it. You know what? Just get started doing it. If it's $20 a week, then great. It's something, but you're saving more than you used to.
I have a comment. That's a good point. When people just start, they're starting to make the activity more of a habit. And saving money for some people can get like slightly addicting, kind of become a game. And I had this from personal experience back when I started doing this in 2002, I guess. I opened ING had a high yield savings account. ING is now Capital One 360, but it was ING Orange Savings is what it was called. I was paying 5.75%. I'll never forget, my mom called me up, and I was in the insurance business. She goes, hey, when you were a kid, I took out this small life insurance policy. There's some cash in there. What should we do with it? I'm like, I'm going to start my emergency fund. So I put that in the account, and I decided I was going to save a weekly amount each week, like I think I started like $25. But then,
how responsible of you.
Well, I mean, I didn't want to be
a responsible adult thing to do.
But mom got me kickstarted because she had that cash and some life insurance policy she took out way back when. And anyway, so I started doing a weekly amount. And then what I would do is I would up the weekly amount. So I'd go for a month and do it. Then the next month I'd up it. Well, I kept doing this until it got to a point where I actually, because it was kind of fun, like, oh, could I save this amount every week? And I knew if I needed the money, it was there, right? Like, it wasn't like I was spending it. Well, I got to this point where it got really painful. Like, I don't have any money. So I was able to kind of figure out the equilibrium of, hey, this is the amount that I can actually save and not feel broke. And it kind of became like every week I'm like, man, I wonder if I could do X amount more until it got to be a big number, and then I scaled it back. But that's a good way to kind of see, what you can afford. Like a good example, if you're thinking about making a big purchase, that's $2,000. Let's say you're going to buy a vacation place. Well, maybe even if you have the down payment made, maybe you just save the $2,500 a month for 4 or 5 months and see how it goes, acting like you have that payment before you just go get it. Like, or the person who's looking at taking a car loan. Today, the car loan, which we don't advocate, but car loans are, the average loan's what, $700, the average car payment? Before you pull the trigger, maybe just start looking at, hey, can I actually afford to do this?
Yeah, those are all really good ideas. And even, I guess, practicing some kind of payment like you're talking about, sounds like an adult thing to do. But yeah, anything. I think here's one of the other with resolutions, and what if it's a resolution, if it's a longer term goal. And this is me personally. I think having a vision for what you want is important, but that doesn't stop the fact that, well, Monday morning's going to hit, so you should probably do some things. Tuesday's going to hit. Like, it's what you choose to do every day that really matters, and that's just my opinion on things. So in the world of resolutions, you can have the greatest resolution of all time, but if there's no action or no doing, it really doesn't matter. And here's the other thing I don't like about, see, now you got me complaining about stuff. New Year's resolutions. Well, everyone's going to want to lose weight. And then in January and February, the gym is just going to be packed.
Actually,
with people.
You just gave me a great idea.
What?
Right now is the time to list that Peloton for sale. Because somebody out there is going to make the New Year's resolution that I'm going to lose weight.
If you're going to sell it right now.
I should sell it right now. My wife hasn't stepped foot on that thing in 12 months. It hasn't. The pedals have turned because my girls go down and play with the pedals. Outside of that, nobody's turning the pedals on the Peloton. That's a good one. Here's what's ironic. So I'm going to let you give me insight to this. In this study, they asked how many people were going to make a resolution. Okay? 53% of baby boomers said they make a resolution. Gen X, 66%. Millennials, 76%. And Gen Z, 75%.
Wow. 76% of millennials?
So basically, 75% of young people are going to make a resolution. So it's a coin flip if you're over like 65. Why is that?
It's just a common thing to do.
No, I think it's the boomers have figured out that we're going to make, they're just like you.
Yeah,
they're a little wiser. They're a little older. They're like, well, I've done all this stuff. And a lot of boomers are probably at, a point in their life where they don't want to change anything, or they made a resolution the last 35 years. And guess what? They were done by January 10th. So like, why would I make it?
Yeah, I'm a 25%er. I'm a 25% of millennials that don't do the resolution. But I don't. It's just a common thing. So yeah, baby boomers, they've given up. Half of them have said, I'm not gonna do it anyway.
As I look at that's not a bad thing. They're probably like, oh, this is just a waste of time. It's not gonna happen. Like, I mean, I don't know if it's in here. What's the percentage of resolutions that actually come to fruition? And you know what? I'm gonna tell you why a lot don't. Think about this for a second. How many people, Elias, do you think write their resolution down in 3 places and make it real? None. They sit around, they sit with their wife on New Year's Eve like, oh, I got to make a resolution. I guess I'm going to lose 10 pounds this year. And they talk about it for 9 days, but they never wrote it down, so it just wasn't real.
Got to get that writ down somewhere.
Writ down.
Sorry.
Hey, okay. As I was getting going for this, Molly made me watch this TikTok. Have you ever seen this? It's the TikTok where the woman asked their husbands or boyfriends how often they think about the Roman Empire. And apparently this guy says all the time. When was the last time you thought about the Roman Empire?
I'll tell you when. If I saw something about
Gladiator?
It on TV, if I watched a movie when I was in school studying world history, but like I don't know. Why should I be thinking about?
Well,
I need more resolutions, and I need to think about the Roman Empire. Well, how did this start?
Well, so there's this TikTok, and apparently there's all these guys that think about the Roman Empire all the time. I'm like, what? So it's a thing on TikTok now. If you go watch it, they're claiming my relationship with money is their Roman Empire, meaning I'm thinking about my money all the time. So I watched the video.
Something to this we do not know anything about. This doesn't.
Is there got to be a TV show or something that had the Roman Empire and it's super popular that we don't watch? I don't know, but I'm like, I literally, Elias, in the last 20 years, have never thought about the Roman Empire. I've thought about Roman coins because I watched The Curse of Oak Island, and they're finding some Roman coins, but I've never thought about randomly the Roman Empire. So it's something going viral on TikTok, which, it's a younger person thing. So I thought it'd be ironic.
Well, other than the Roman Empire and how important that is, and maybe there's a compelling reason I should think about it more often. There are things people are thinking about. And with the Fidelity, Fidelity has the study about resolutions and what people are planning on doing. It also talks about top financial concerns for 2024. I don't think this will be a surprise to listeners, but inflation's impact on day-to-day expenses is still top of mind for a lot of people. And I know just so this last weekend, I was at a family Christmas, one that we had to do early because of time and all that. And, inflation gets brought up even just around like Christmas. Oh, buying gifts and doing all the wrapping paper and everything. So inflation's just kind of it's the gift that keeps on giving here the last couple years. And it's very impactful. I think it's been a lot harder for there's probably an argument to be made that like people at the bottom end of income and stuff like that, it's probably really hurting their pocketbook and the things that are going on. I mean, inflation's annoying for everyone, but it's a top concern going into 2024. Unexpected expenses is up there, and that's probably typical, right? Because those type of things happen all the time. What's that?
Here's what I think about unexpected expenses. That's also impacted by inflation.
Yeah.
The unexpected expense used to be $1,000 and now it's $2,000.
Yeah.
Which kinds
inflation.
And I only know this because I've had a couple of them. I'm like, really? It was that much? I'd have a part fixed on my boat and I'm like, seems like a lot of money for a pump. I mean, it was like several $1,000s. Like
inflation.
$2,700. I'm like, that's a lot of money for a pump. Where, that's an unexpected expense. And it's probably a reason people should start revisiting, hey, is my emergency fund adequate? Like, think about this. If your emergency fund used to be $10,000, and let's just say everything's 30 or 40% more expensive, which arguably I think it's more, well, maybe you need 15 or 20 now. Like, just because you had a fully funded emergency account 3 years ago doesn't mean it's good. Here's the other thing I've noticed with inflation. You know that I do all the grocery shopping in the house for the most part. My wife will stop, but I enjoy doing it. It's kind of like relaxing for me. I just walk around, no kids, drink my coffee, run into a bunch of people I know. What's really expensive is all the processed stuff now. Used to be, right, if you went to the grocery store and stayed in the outside aisles, the produce and the meat and that stuff, that was like the expensive stuff, the healthy stuff. And if you needed inexpensive stuff, you go inside, your ramen noodles, your, macaroni and cheese, all that stuff. Well, macaroni and cheese is like $2 a box now.
It's not even worth it.
Dude, I bought a marinade the other day, Elias. How much do you think a marinade is at the store? And not a name brand one, just like the Hy-Vee brand.
How much?
$5.
How big a bottle? Well,
just a little one-shot deal's like $5. I'm like, and I don't watch the prices, but then I'm at the register, and now it's you self-checkout. You get the best service when you check out yourself, and everything's like at least $2.99 or $3.99. There's nothing for under $1 at the store anymore.
Yeah,
I mean everything. And so you mentioned putting a pinch on people's budget. It for sure is putting, if you are in a lower income, level, is pinching your budget, just trying to feed your family. But when you said unexpected expenses, it just made me think that, we all have them and they're twice as much money as they used to be.
Yeah. So, and then have you noticed like all the shrinkflation?
Oh yeah.
Like all the packaging is smaller and
Elias, you were with us the other night. We went to a different restaurant after the radio show to get chicken wings. 8 chicken wings. How much do you think they were?
8 wings, $18.
They were $16. I go, really?
$2 a pop. Yeah.
I mean, our normal place, it's like $12 or $13 for a bunch. I'm like, 8 chicken wings for $16. That's shrinkflation, right? That's both. That's inflation and shrinkflation, both sides. Well, there used to be a chicken wing shortage. Maybe there's still,
I think that got fixed.
Of course it did, but it doesn't mean they're not using it as a convenient excuse.
So I got another shrinkflation story, which I don't know if this is even true. This is probably just my own conspiracy theory, but this last weekend at Christmas, so there was a couple dips there. Some of the dips were meant for like Ritz crackers. I think the Ritz crackers are weaker than they used to be. Like they break as soon as you dip them into something now.
Dude.
So then I was like, dude, did they figure out how to like make it look? It's like the same size. It looks the same, but there's less of something because the crackers are, to me, they seem like they're weaker now.
And you know what?
So then I was like, oh, here we go, shrinkflation again, ruining my holiday.
The Ritz cracker used to be a pretty heavy duty cracker.
That's what I kind of think of it as. Like, yeah, it's like good for dip. Like it's if you're gonna have a dip or something, it's a good one because it won't break. And now they break every time.
So check this out. Well, so we bought a box at Townhouse. Maybe there's something to it. So I get the Townhouse crackers, and I look for the box to make sure I'm not getting the one that somebody like dropped or sat on. Half the crackers are broken when you open them.
In the pack?
I just did London's lunch today, and half the crackers that I put in there are broken in half. I'm sure she's gonna cry because she had crackers. Yep. They're broken.
Shrinkflation.
I never thought about that one. That's a pretty insightful one there.
I can give you good insights when it comes to
that
crackers and dip.
That doesn't surprise me. A third of people say the relationship or their Roman Empire with money is stressful. That's got to be similar. But of those feeling stressed, the top thing stressing people out is finding money to save for their goals after paying bills. Well, that's always one. And this is where I always, that's an easy way. I got an easy way to not be stressed out about that first one. Just pay yourself first. Then pay the bills. Build your lifestyle around paying yourself first. 37% of people are struggling to pay their monthly bills, and 34% of people don't believe they have enough for retirement savings. Man, the 34% thinking they don't have enough for retirement savings is actually kind of a shocking number to me. Shockingly low. Well, I mean...
Yeah, it's low. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't even think about it.
No, people just have their head in their sand. They're not even thinking about retirement. There's no way, because if they were, it wouldn't be 34%. Or they have this false idea of what they're actually going to need.
Yeah, or they just have no idea. They might just not even have any idea what they should be doing or how to do it.
Right. All right, Elias, we're going to play a game. Have you ever played the game Would You Rather?
Yep.
All right, let's play. You have to guess the percentage for each one. Well, I'll just ask you, and then I'll tell you the percentages. That'll actually be more fun. Take your chances finding love in a reality show or take your chances in the stock market. Would you rather?
That one's easy. I would never go on a reality show for anything, let alone to date someone that a whole group of people's dating.
But hold on.
I would never do that.
Hold on. Wait till I tell you the numbers. 28% of the people would rather look for love. They think their probability of success is higher looking for love on a reality TV show than making money in the stock market. That's bizarre. That's almost a third of the people think they'd have a better chance going on Bachelor. They just want to go on Bachelor Island. This isn't about where they're going to be more successful. They just want to go play the game.
Probably.
Okay, Elias. Would you rather trade memes all day or trade stocks all day?
And trading memes just means sharing them with people.
Pictures, I guess. I thought it said meme stocks. It was like making sense. But it's just trading. 52% of people would rather trade memes with people than to trade stocks. Wow. I don't know. Like, that's just crazy.
I don't do either. I don't do either of those things.
So back it up. Here's the deal. We're thinking that you and I are thinking of this from what would be more profitable and what would be a better use of our time. and we're clearly more interested in the stock market,
Yeah.
the vast majority of the population probably would much rather trade memes for fun than try to trade stocks, because that's a total drag. So
there's a lot of entertainment value there.
So that makes a little
Memes
bit more
are funny.
sense. If you take this out of the context of it's about making money, if it's about entertainment, then I kind of understand that. So I got to tell you something. So a buddy of mine that I went to high school with, he's got this TikTok channel or something where people send him memes and he reads it.
Really?
And I hope he's not listening, but it's really boring. But he's had like several that have went viral. One had like over 1 million views. I mean, I think that's a stick. You know what I mean? Like, it's to say it in this really monotone voice and just read the meme. I'll have to show it to you when done. I'm going to show.
Everyone's like, oh, it's probably you.
Oh,
it's not me.
Actually, we got to get you a channel. No. I know a person who can set you up.
No.
All right. Would you rather complete a clean eating challenge or do a no spending challenge for the entire month of January? No spending or clean eating.
I can tell you which one's easier. I'd have an easier time not spending any money. Eating clean is hard to do.
I'm saying, would you rather? What would you rather do? You'd rather spend no money or you'd rather eat clean?
I'd rather spend no money.
Okay.
Than eat clean for 30 days. I mean, my diet consists of chicken wings and pizza. How am I going to go 30 days eating clean?
You could air fry those wings.
Is that considered clean eating?
Cleaner. I mean, if it was buffalo sauce and you air fried them, like, there's still like some chicken fat, but there's no carbohydrates, there's no sugar, some calories in there. The pizza, okay, you want it fried up. I get it. I mean, I'd go sacred cow, grilled and fried, Thursday afternoon. Yeah, I think I'd go for the no clean. Me personally, I'd do the clean eating challenge. I'd rather do that. 45% said they'd rather do clean eating challenge versus 55% doing no spending. Here's the good news. 2/3 of Americans believe this year they're going to be better off than they were last year. And I think that's probably just people feeling like inflation's a little less. You go to the gas pump, it's $3 or less now. Eggs aren't $5. You can buy eggs for $2 or less. Milk's about $3. Like, stuff is becoming less expensive compared to where it was. I don't think we're going to see deflation, which I think a lot of people think that's what we're going to see. But I also think the other thing is, if you look at the news, 6 to 18 months ago, the news was dominated by worst stock market crash ever, massive recession, and what's happened? The market went down. Mm-hmm. It came back. There's no recession. Are we going to have a recession? Yes. Do I know when? No. But I feel like the narrative has changed for people.
I agree with that. And people have also, with time, kind of gotten used to the new economic environment, or whatever you want to call it. You know, when we had inflation at 9% and now aggressive interest rate hikes in the market going, I mean, there was a lot of challenges certainly in 2022, right? So, and that can make people pretty negative. And sometimes I've actually noticed recently there's people that they still expect, you know, when we do a review or something, we go through a whole report of how things are going, and a lot of people are like, oh, I expected it to be worse, right? So I think that negativity kind of lingers. You just kind of, oh, well, it's just bad now.
Well, it goes back to, we did, Franklin Templeton did a study. Man, we used to do this at a workshop, where they asked people what they thought the stock market did for the year, whether it was positive or negative. And like 70% of the time, people said the stock market was negative when reality was 80% positive. But there was always an event that happened throughout the year, apocalypse du jour. Mm-hmm. You know, what's the event of the year that made everybody think that it was going to be negative. And honestly, it's usually better than what people think. And part of it is, here's the other thing that people get stuck on. They get these monthly investment statements. So they're tracking their account balance monthly or daily or whatever craziness is happening because it doesn't matter. My account went down over 30 days. But what did it do for the whole period of time?
Yeah, the whole period. Anyone who's been invested and stayed invested is massively better off than if you would have never done it.
Let me give you a crazy analogy. So if people are looking at their statement on a monthly basis saying, oh, it went down this month, that's like your boss coming to you at work and saying, yep, your productivity was down 8% this month. Even though all year you could have been working overtime. Could be October. You worked overtime every single week for 9 months, and then your boss comes and says, well, your productivity went down this month. Think about it. Am I right? That's exactly the same thing. Or,
well, it's a good thing. Hey, it's a good thing the year's going to change and everyone's going to have resolutions and productivity is going to be up 35%.
Productivity is going to be 0 in 7 days. Everybody's going to start at 0.
Yeah.
With that said, we're kind of rolling into 2024. Goal setting is what, it's funny. I didn't look at the bottom half of this outline. That's why I said our goal is the same thing as resolutions, kind of. I feel like resolutions are changes. Goals are things I want to accomplish. And I think it's probably key to, when you're setting goals, there's probably some key things we should look at doing. One, it needs to be specific. We use the example of saving money. Well, what form? Make it specific. 2, you need to write it down because if you don't write it down, it's not really real. Or you need to tell, at least you have to write it down, but you should tell somebody too. Because once you tell somebody what's happened, you've made a public commitment.
Oh.
If I said, Elias, I'm going to do X, and I write it down, well, I've made a commitment to doing that now. It's one thing to think in your head.
You're pot committed.
Well, I mean, there's the opportunity that somebody would hold you accountable. Hey,
Yeah,
I thought you were going to do this. Where if you don't tell anybody, you don't write it down, it's not real. Like, that's a want, actually. It's not a goal, it's a want. So there's another key thing that came from this study, and then we're going to wrap the show up. But main reasons people kept their 2023 resolution.
What are they?
Motivated by their passion, 30%. So that means somebody made a resolution. The people that are actually, 30% is like off the charts keeping a resolution. But the insight there is people made their resolution around something they were passionate about, not something they didn't really believe in. Think about that. Like, it's like most things. If you like, people always say, to be super successful, you have to do something you're passionate about. Well, kind of backs it up. Like if the average resolution is accomplished 2% of the time, and these people did it 30%, they found what they like to do. It'd be, if I wasn't married, and didn't have kids, I'd say, well, my New Year's resolution is to fish 3 days a week.
That'd be a great resolution.
For a single person.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be awesome. Enjoyable, fun, achievable.
Motivated by my passion.
That's right.
26% said it felt good to make progress. I agree with that. If you could do, it's like anything. If you can do it for a day and then you go to 3 days and then a week, the next week is easier than the first week, and it gets easier and easier and easier and easier. It's really just like the first launching point of doing it. A lot of times it's the first 3 days with most things. Like if I said, Elias, you can't eat sugar for a day, you could probably do that.
Oh, yeah.
But if I said you can't do it for a week, it becomes more challenging. But I promise, because I've done this, once you do it for a week, it's easier to do it the next week because you're in the routine and the habit and all that stuff.
Yeah, I agree with that.
26% said their financial goal was clear and specific. Well, I think that's, if it's not clear, it's not specific, it's not going to happen. And the other 25%, I think this is actually really important. It was realistic and easy to maintain.
Yeah.
Make a realistic goal. If you've never saved money, Don't say, well, I'm going to save $50,000 this year unless you have like a high income. Just start out like you said. How about we save $20 a week?
That's probably, in my opinion, the biggest hurdle between setting goals and achieving goals is, are they realistic? I think a lot of times people, you can set a goal, but if it's not realistic, it doesn't really matter. And there's nothing wrong with having a goal that you know is achievable and then using that to build momentum into another goal, right? A lot of times people are like, oh, goals, if it's not realistic to achieve like in a timely, okay, let's say it's a goal that's going to take you 10 years to achieve. Well, the end date shouldn't be the start of 2025, but maybe there's 3 things you could do this year that move you closer.
The micro goals.
There you go, micro goals.
No, I like what you said because I feel, and we talk about this a lot of life's momentum. Like once you kind of get the ball rolling, it's easier and you got all this momentum, and we talk about a lot, how do you not wreck your momentum?
You gotta keep doing the doing part.
Yeah, and don't make it overly complicated. But the last part of this study I think is really telling is the vast majority of people, 80% of the people who had financial advisors were able to stick to their financial resolution compared to 51% of those people without.
Hey, that's a nice statistic right there.
It's not because there's a financial advisor telling you, hey, you need to do this or do anything magic. But my inference there is that the advisor's been able to portray to the person why this is important and impactful for them to do versus someone just telling them. When you do a financial plan for somebody, you're able to kind of quantify what needs to happen and you're taking the guesswork out of it. Well, if people really know what they have to do to be successful and they're clear, specific, concise, and it's written financial plan, that's kind of the recipe for success.
Yeah, and I think that is, a lot of people, even some of the most successful people that I've had interactions with and even maybe done financial plans for and all that, I think there's a level of confidence and conviction people have, especially after they go through a process like that. Because there's a lot of people out there that are doing the right things. They may not know. I'll have we think we're doing pretty good. You hear people say that all the time. We think we're doing pretty good because, we have no debt. We've been good savers for a long time and all that. But then I think when you can show them that, here's the things you are doing right. Maybe here's a couple things we could keep doing, but maybe we need to do them differently or maybe think about it differently. And then people really kind of lean into that. And I think once they're confident in it, that's probably why 80% of people with advisors stick to their financial resolutions.
Yeah,
because it's probably easier when you're kind of have someone there that you trust that can give you, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think about that? Well, here's the pros and cons. Like, here's kind of the way I think about it. And then you kind of set some action items and go, and it works out.
Hey, well, with that said, Elias, I want to thank everybody for listening today. I hope everybody has an enjoyable holiday. If you're looking for help from an advisor, you can get us at btwellshow.com. If you're looking for more content like this, you can follow us on Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and you can subscribe on the YouTube channel if you're looking for more content like this. I want to thank everybody for listening. Hope you have a great holiday.